Hi, everybody. It's Lisa McManus from America's Test Kitchen and Gearheads, and I'm here to answer some of your questions that you left in the comments on our recent video on cutting boards, wood versus plastic. A number of people asked about glass cutting boards or commented that they liked their glass cutting boards and that we didn't talk about them. Glass cutting boards are super bad for your knives. They're hard, they're unforgiving, and I have used them to dull brand new knives when I'm doing knife sharpener testing. So I found that 10 cuts of a brand new knife on a glass cutting board completely destroyed its ability to cut. Um, Keep them for a cheese board or whatever you want to use for a display, but don't cut on them, please. Um, that was related, I think, to a lot of people with questions about sanitizing cutting boards. And as I mentioned in the video, anything you use hot soapy water on is going to come clean. Um, People have bleached their plastic cutting boards they were talking about. Bleach works great on plastic cutting boards if you want to do a bleach and water solution and soak it or wipe it down and rinse it well, get the bleach back off of it again. It's not good for wood. It will bleach the wood, it will dry it out, it will damage it. And it's not necessary. We found hot soapy water is the answer. Um, a few people mentioned that Hannah has a wooden cutting board and she was talking about plastic cutting boards, etc. Both of us own both kinds. So I have a few little plastic cutting boards that I use. She has some wood and plastic. Plastic and wood have their own advantages. Different sizes, as people mention, are good things to have. You know, if you're just going to cut a lemon in half, sure, you don't need to bring out the giant board. Grab a little board. But we were kind of pointing out that people should give themselves space to work, so a larger board is good. That said, for some people, that large board that I was using looked a little big for them. I will say that it's very rewarding, don't knock it if you haven't tried it, to have a lot of space to cut on. And as for like it being a little heavy in the sink and stuff, you know, we all go to the gym and pay the money. Why don't we lift stuff in our house? So, yeah, that's just the way I think about it. I should be able to handle things. If you have a medical reason you shouldn't be lifting things, sure, get a lighter board. For things like cutting up meat, I often will we have tested flexible cutting mats, which are plastic, thin, little sheets that you can put on top of your wood board or whatever board you're using, cut the meat up with that, take that away, and then it's a little bit less difficult to clean the board. So there's another option. Um, let's see. A few people asked for more information on boards or asked if we had tested certain boards that we didn't mention. We were really giving you the highlights of the two styles with our favorite boards, but each of those was subject to a full testing with lots and lots of brands, including some of the ones people were asking about. Those stories live on our website, www.americastestkitchen.com. It is a subscription site. It's behind a paywall, but you know, if you like the information that we're providing, there's a lot more of it there, and you can look it up anytime, plus recipes. So, I mean, not to do an ad, but that's where we keep more information. Um, Someone asked, can you use both sides of each board? Yeah, each of those boards that we recommend, the wooden one and the plastic one, both sides are the same. We did test some that had little feet on them. In general, it's not our favorite, not only because, you know, as a vertically challenged person, that cutting board, if it's thick and has feet, it's up too high for me to be really using it. And for, you know, other people, it's a consideration. It does limit you to use one side of that board. Only the top, the feet have to be on the downside. So we kind of prefer boards you can use both sides. People were talking about the type of oil that was the best to use on the boards. I mentioned mineral oil in that video. It's a good oil to use for all kinds of wooden tools. We also have a recipe on our website for spoon butter, which is a combination of beeswax plus mineral oil. And that combination is even better because the beeswax kind of coats the board and holds the oil in a little bit. But, you know, if you're not doing anything to maintain your boards, basic mineral oil from the grocery store will do it for you. If you don't want to use mineral oil, and people were talking about other food grade oils, the one thing you do have to know is if you're using that board all the time, yeah, sure, probably those oils will work. You don't want them to get on there and be too thick and to go rancid if you're not using the board very much. It'll smell terrible. It'll turn kind of plasticky, sticky. So if you, whatever oil you use, thin coat, really rub it in, really let it dry. Um, and wash it frequently. So it will, it's better to use something like a mineral oil, but if you're going to use a different oil, make sure it's on a board you're using frequently so it doesn't have a chance to go bad. And finally, some people were talking about juice channels, or to catch juices from cutting up tomatoes or whatever. Neither of the boards that we were talking about have that. For people who do want a little bit of a juice channel, it is on some of the boards that we talk about in the stories, but we haven't really found it that necessary. If you're cutting something that's really wet, yeah, maybe. Um, Sometimes people will, if they have a smaller board, they'll put it inside of a sheet pan to catch any kind of runoff. So you have your half sheet pan and you put your board inside. But, in general, for most things people are cutting up, it hasn't really proved super useful. So, hope that's helpful. Thank you for commenting, and hope you keep on watching Gearheads. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.